Episode 3, where we are talking about pets and units. So let's get it started. All right, so I kind of skipped ahead here a little bit, but I want to backtrack. Let's talk about pets and let's talk about units real quick. So ultimately, in a pet crate, you're going to have pets that you will be with you at any given time, and we'll buy one pet crate here just to demonstrate. We'll open our pet crate and we get a butcher. So we can now find our butcher by coming over here, and you can see we've got our two pets, one that we'll get to later, but this one right here, you can see that it adds 4% damage to any unit that we have in our placement. We have a reduction of our SPA, so that's going to be the amount of time it takes for our unit to attack again. And then it's going to add range instantly to our unit, which is awesome. So as we place our units, we will continue to get boosts. So Pearl will then get a 4% boost, a 4% reduction in SPA, and a 4% increase in range through our loadout when we load in. Now, right now, we can only have one pet. You can get something called Pet Equips. Pet Equips you can buy for $4.99, but that's not the way that I like to play. You can also get these through admin abuse, and there is going to be an admin abuse this upcoming Friday, and it's usually either Friday, Saturday. They've done some on Wednesdays. They haven't been fully consistent throughout the time frame, but they do usually have an admin abuse or a small one at least once a week to give out things. And as that comes through, one of the passes has been the +1 pet ad, and that means you can have more than one pet. So the goal is to have 3. Now they are talking about doing a rebalance where each individual unit gets its own pet, and that would be something where you would need additional pet ads, but like I said, we've historically gotten them through admin abuse. Now most of these pets, as you can see, have percentages and damages, and this one gets up to 7, this one's 8, and this one's a secret, so it's unknown, but it also does a gold boost. So remember, as we're playing through the gold it takes to place our units, that one boosts that as well. And then we have Potty the Parrot. Now this is the first exotic pet that came out, and its damage, as you can see, is a larger increase at 12%, but it's got placements, so we're at +1 placement. So now we have a secret unit over. So now we have a secret unit. Naturally, we can only place one of these. So now if we have a potty, we could then place a second one. Then we can go ahead and also add traits and miscellaneous things to increase that. But right now we're just going through pets and units. The next portion of units is going to be different types. So we have 5 unit types, and of those types you're going to have something called line, splash, single target, pierce, and full AoE. The line is going to be exactly as it sounds, a line of people come out, and it is going to target the line of people. Splash, similar to what you would think if you had a group of people and you threw a water balloon at somebody in the middle, it's going to splash on other people and get them wet, so there will be damage that correlates to the splash. Then we have single target, and as it's fully states, a single target is going to be one target that is going to be identified and attacked. So typically you want that to be a single unit or a fast unit, but you want it to have a lot of power. And then you have pierce. So think of it as throwing an arrow, and the arrow gets to go through everything. You want to make sure it's in a straight line with one of the paths, and we'll go through that later if we use a pierce unit. Then the next one is going to be full AoE. And full AoE is going to be area of engagement or area of attack, and ultimately it's going to be a big circle, and it's going to do damage to everything in that circle, depending on whether it's closer or further away. Will depend on how much damage is actually done. Certain units do have different static abilities, like burn, where it will continue to do damage as the unit continues to move. Then there is a poison, same concept. It will do additional damage as the unit continues on. There is something called Dream Gary, which is still one of the best endless units. I'll post a video here. As you can see, I brought Dream Gary into this endless race, and you can kind of see what he does. He's going to slow down the units in their speed so that they move a lot slower than what they should, making it easier to get takedowns with those units. Then there is Freeze, which is going to be on Alaskan Bullworm, and that is similar to Sleep, but not as good. It is going to be a little bit better unit, but ultimately it is older and does not quite have the power of the new units. And then lastly, there is the new Divine Power, and it kind of just lights the units up and does additional damage at the end. It kind of like a splash. I haven't really mastered that one because the Divine unit and the Sleep unit don't work together as of right now. So hopefully that will eventually get fixed from the devs. But for right now, the Divine unit and Sleep work in different ways. So the Divine kind of bypasses the Sleep, making the Sleep not useful. So most of us for endless runs, we aren't really using the Divine because the Sleep is very powerful with Dream Gary. And you'll see most of us who try to hit a world record use the Dream Gary. So that's a little about units. We'll get more into depth of the units as they progress. And then as we discussed, we have our secret units, which are going to have 4 things, which is in this case damage, your SPA reduction, your range increase, and your gold increase. You have your exotic pet, which is going to have your additional placement. And then obviously you're going to have what we stayed in AFK for overnight, our prismatics pets. Now our prismatic pet here, as you can see, is a large jump, and it has gold and it has a second placement. So we have a 32% boost, 50% additional gold, and 2 placements. So now, just by equipping this pet, we now can place 3 secrets alone, which is pretty awesome. Now, there's only one pet as of right now that has +3, and it's in this prestige shop, which is why we want to get to level 4,000 as fast as possible, as Snailfail has 3 placements, and it is currently the best single pet in the game. So that would get us Snailfail and SpongeBob, which are going to be right now some of the best pets for using, best combination of pet and unit when we start playing things like raids and challenges. Now you can sit down and tell me that there's better units than SpongeBob, and you're right, there are. But when you talk about placement size and ease of use, that is going to be my go-to. Because of its super quick animation speed attack, I constantly find myself using SpongeBob. And then I'm typically using something like a Carl, which we can get from Premium Dice, or if you can find a Heartman, that was probably the best AoE that has the best placement size in the game right now. Our pet, which you can see is now following us around everywhere we go. Well, let's get back to play and jump to episode 4, where we're going to show off these units. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and join me in the next adventure.